My beautiful people, my beautiful people, my beautiful people. Welcome back to another lovely episode of the Logic Over Emotions podcast / reactions. It's your dog, your brother man, Melly baby. Now in this episode, we're going to our best friend Lo. We're talking some basketball, baby. Donovan Mitchell, an acquaintance of mine actually, out of Westchester, New York. Yeah, born and raised there and everything, man. He's been traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. As a New Yorker, I'm very upset. Would love to have seen him on the Knicks just play for New York. We would have loved to have seen that, but I think that's a good spot for him personally. But we will see. Let's hear the explanation. Let's see the stats. Let's talk about it. But of course, per usual, let's get to the intro.
The trade that many people have been anticipated finally happened. And no, I'm not talking about KD being traded. And unfortunately, as a Laker fan, I'm not even talking about Westbrook being traded either. Because boy, oh boy, them headlines really starting to get to you, boy. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I am talking about
Celtics fans. How do y'all? Whoa, Lakers fans. How do y'all feel about y'all lineup? If you're a Lakers fan, let me know how you feel about your lineup and how far you think you guys will be going this year. We'd love to know y'all opinion on that.
Donovan Mitchell being moved from the Utah Jazz to the Cleveland Cavaliers. A trade that I think a lot of people were anticipating for him to go to the Knicks, but unfortunately that kind of fell through for the Knicks and the Jazz a week prior, which kind of left Utah no other choice but to move him to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, what does all of this mean? Well, we're going to discuss it in this video, not only for D-Mitch and the Cavs and the Utah Jazz, but even the entire league, because I do believe there will be a couple of other teams that are going to make some moves because of D-Mitch being traded. But before we get to that point, let's talk about the trade itself. Now, in terms of the details of the trade, the Utah Jazz will receive Colin Sexton, a player that, quite frankly, I've never heard of before in my life. 3 first-round unprotected draft picks, 2 pick swaps, and then in terms of Cleveland, they just received Donovan Mitchell. Now, on the surface, it may seem as if Cleveland won this trade massively, and they more or less did. Even though I do have my reservations and concerns when it comes to Cleveland after this trade, it's still undeniable receiving somebody of Donovan Mitchell's caliber for what they gave up is a no-brainer. D. Mitchell provided a level of scoring pressure that was desperately needed for this Cleveland Cavaliers team that was overly dependent on Darius Garland creating everything for everybody. Also in this trade, Cleveland was able to keep Kevin Love. Now, I'm not saying that because K-Love is this massive superstar and people may have forgot who he is. No, I'm saying that because he has an expiring contract. $30 million is coming off the books this year, and we all know expiring contracts are extremely valuable in any trade scenario. So I'm very surprised that Utah, knowing that they could have had $30 million coming off the books, did not push for Kevin Love.
That's actually...
And Cleveland wasn't allowing that to happen. What makes things even more interesting is what this may mean for D. Mitch himself. Mitchell in Utah, very similar to Garland out in Cleveland, was heavily dependent to create shots for everyone, including himself, meaning that more or less if the offense became stagnant, a lot of times they relied on him to get them out of their ruts, and if that didn't happen, then everything just fell apart. We saw problems like these consistently arise in the playoffs against teams that were very versatile and switchable defensively.
I gotta be honest with you, y'all. This is me personally. Of course, I could be wrong. Donovan Mitchell, of course I love Donovan because he's from Westchester, and I love his game. He's damn near the Wayne Wade 2.0. The potential-wise. And I just don't think Rudy Gobert was a good fit with him at all, bro. I mean, for God's sakes, we had players like Anthony Edwards saying they weren't even scared to go at him. They were more scared of Porzingis. Rudy Gobert is a player that was literally just in the wrong time. I saw Instagram footage of him. I believe it was Dennis Schroeder. He was pulling a post move on one of the overseas games, something like that, man. And he had no post moves. Like, Rudy Gobert's game has not gotten any better at all. It's disappointing because I do love defensive players, and to see him not even try to get like a hook, like a really good hook, his footwork getting better, something. It just hasn't gotten better, bro. So it's just like, I understand. I mean, personally, me, I would have got rid of Rudy Gobert in a heartbeat and got a stretch big or something. But whatever. They also needed another star because Mike Conley is cool, bro. But you need someone else that can help Donovan get like 20 plus, or that could help assist, like make the job easier for Don. And I don't know, bro. It's just, I don't know, man. What do you guys think? Why do you think the Jazz failed so bad on just being great with Donovan Mitchell? Let me know in the comments down below.
Especially against the Houston Rockets. But now being on the Cavs, just like Garland, he will also receive the benefit
and Garland
of
is nice.
Someone in the backcourt who has the ability
Cavs look very good.
Pressure on the defense, manipulate the defense, and just make it easier for everybody else. And more importantly, especially for those who want to be extremely optimistic about who Donovan Mitchell is as a player, there is a possibility that we may be able to see a bit more defensive effort out of him. Heading into the NBA, many people speculated that D. Mitchell was going to be a stout defensively, but unfortunately, he's been falling relatively short in that aspect of his game. Some people like myself would argue a big reason for this is because of the offensive responsibility he's had in Utah. So hopefully we will be correct, because I would love to see D. Mitch be a much better defender, because he definitely has the physical tools to do so.
Absolutely.
However, even if that doesn't transpire, at bare minimum, D. Mitch should be a neutral defender on this team, especially because they have two players in Jared Allen and Evan Mobley who'll be able to cover a lot of his and Garland's defense.
Mobley's going to be nice.
Also adding to the mix Okoro, who is a solid wing defender as well. And the problems that we saw to Donovan Mitchell out in Utah with the lack of perimeter defensive-oriented players will no longer be as much of a problem as it was before. So even though, yes, D-Mitch has his flaws, I do like the fit for the team, and it is a right step in the right direction. But there are the flaws. The first one that...
Man, nobody care about this finger painting damn light, man.
That is pretty hard to overlook is, again, the defense. Even though, yes, you could be optimistic about who Donovan Mitchell is going to be defensively, we still have to wait to see it. The amount of effort that we've seen from Donovan Mitchell defensively in the postseason, quite frankly, has been laughable at times, especially this past postseason run. And even though, yes, he's going to be on a team with better defensive pieces surrounding him, it will more than likely take away of what this team can do on the offensive end, which then also further concerns me as well. Even though D-Mitch had the responsibility of carrying this offense for the past 2 or 3 years out in Utah, he was still extremely privileged to be on a unit that had ample floor spacing. Who knows what type of player D-Mitch is going to be when his floor spacing is restricted, because he's sharing the floor with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, and God knows who they're going to put at the 3, because if it is Isaac Okoro, yes, defensively he's good, but on the other side of the floor, yeah, there's several limitations. So I don't know what Donovan Mitchell is going to look like if he's sharing the floor with only 1 or 2 quality floor spacers. And the biggest concern that I have is that there is a real possibility, a very legitimate one, that the Cleveland Cavaliers already had a scoring guard on their roster for roughly half the price in Colin Sexton. Now, I'm not saying that Colin Sexton is as good as Donovan Mitchell.
Not at all.
Nor do I even believe that his ceiling could ever reach that high either, because even though, yes, he had one really good year, and you could definitely project him based off of that, he was on a team that didn't have any expectations, and he was definitely taking a bulk of the offensive responsibilities. So there's a possibility that those are inflated numbers. But nevertheless, I don't really think it's that hard for me to believe that Colin Sexton would have translated to a 20 to 22 point score on a more than respectable shooting splits, especially on a team that had more offensive weapons around him than it did 2 years ago. And even if he doesn't reach Donovan Mitchell's ceiling, which again, I don't think that he is either, but if he falls relatively close, like 70 to 80% of the offensive player that D-Mitch is, quite frankly, I think that is okay. I think that's acceptable, especially when you're getting him at half of the price of Donovan Mitchell. Now, all of that could be wishful thinking, and I do understand that. And if you're Cleveland, you've earned the position to give you something a little bit more guaranteed than crossing your fingers and hoping that Colin Sexton translates to a consistent scoring option, especially in the playoffs. But doing this at twice the cost when there's still several concerns with your roster definitely has me hesitating before I can say that Cleveland cemented themselves as a top 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. Some people on Twitter are doing right now.
Yeah, which is wild.
Utah Jazz, and it's very clear that Utah is trying to rebuild, so them not getting a player of the caliber of Donovan Mitchell in return is all understandable. I do like Colin Sexton. I like what he could potentially be on this team and really on other rosters in the NBA, and giving him a platform like Utah where there isn't going to be any expectations. He's more than likely going to be able to dominate the ball. And who really cares if some of these numbers are inflated? That is actually a really good way to increase his value.
Yeah, the stock value, yeah.
Ship him off in another year or two, because I more than likely believe that that's what's going to happen to him. Also,
that's what the Knicks should have got, personally.
Very respectable as well.
Do you think the Knicks should have got Colin Sexton, bro? He's a good defender, bro. He's a really hard worker. His game is gonna keep getting better. I think personally, I appreciate people who work very hard. I appreciate hard work over talent. I always do, and I want to see him do very well. I really do, man. What do you guys think? You think he should have went to the Knicks? And if you don't think he should have went to the Knicks, why? Let me know down below in the comments section. I'd love to hear y'all opinion on that.
Add this to what they received during the Rudy Gobert trade from Minnesota, and yeah, definitely a rebuilding team out there in Utah if I've ever seen one. I understand what they're doing. I understand the direction that they're trying to go in and getting as much draft capital as possible, tanking this year, trying to hit Victor in the lottery because, boy, I ain't gonna lie, that 7-foot demon looking crazy. I don't know if y'all seen the highlights. That man is sensational. So I understand why teams are tanking. I get it. Now, moving on to what this means for the rest of the league. Well, everyone is more or less looking at the rest of the Utah Jazz roster, looking at some of their veterans, and seeing what they need to trade to get as many pieces removed from Utah as possible. Players such as Mike Conley, Bogdanovich, and Jordan Clarkson could legitimately add some depth to a roster that makes
Clarkson can definitely add some.
What makes this even more intriguing is that all three of these players are under contracts that are very malleable. And since the Jazz traded both Mitchell and Gobert, this means moving forward financially, the level of commitment that they have to this roster isn't that severe. The reason why that's important is because you could potentially trade a player to the Jazz, and they more than likely will have the ability to buy him out and do it very comfortably. This is the reason why many people are now bringing up Russell Westbrook once more, because there is a possibility that the Lakers could just trade Westbrook to the Utah Jazz, receive some quality wing depth, which is something that they desperately need, especially floor spacing. And again, the Jazz could just comfortably buy him out and make him a free agent. Something that I think is very, very realistic, and I think is a great thing for the Lakers, especially the fan base, because, boy, have we been needing some type of a grace right now, because I cannot believe we're this deep into the postseason, or the playoffs, or the offseason, excuse me. I cannot believe we're this deep into the offseason, and Westbrook is still a Laker. It's ridiculous.
Yo. Yo, the way Laker fans, I'm not a Russell fan. Well, I am technically. I am, because I was a big Russell fan when he was on OKC. But the way y'all, man, are coming at his neck is absolutely hilarious. And the fact a lot of you are just not putting y'all not putting no blame on him is so laughable to me. Like, I'm not trying to shit on Russ. I'm not trying to do none of that, bro. But y'all got to start calling a spade for a spade, bro, and stop. Like, bro, it's okay to criticize somebody, dog. Like, it's okay, bro. He'll still be your best friend because he knows you so well. Like, it's fine, bro. Like, bro, if Stephen Curry, to me, was still defending with his glass ankles, I'd be pissed off. I'd be going crazy. Like, because that's holding your favorite players accountable, bro. I don't want to hear none of that nonsense. Like, stop, bro. Like, if y'all held Westbrook, listen, I always said this. If Westbrook had a better understanding of basketball IQ, he would be the best point guard of all time. I said that when I was younger, back in the day. If he understood he has to change his shot around, he can't go 1,000 miles an hour all the time. If he understood that, bro, he'd be the best point guard of all time. I used to always say that. But he just didn't. I don't know, bro. I just don't know, man. But I hope he changes still. I hope he does get better. And I hope he proves a lot of people wrong, personally.
It's absurd. It's mind-blowing to me. But even beyond the Lakers, it's clear Utah's trying to rebuild. No need of keeping veterans on their roster who should be playing for playoff caliber teams. And so, yes, even getting more draft compensation for Utah is very, very real. The last thing that I had to touch upon is this diabolical plan that the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're sitting there building this contending team so LeBron, he can join back to the roster.
Yo, Twitter's going crazy with that.
Home and they're just thinking, the Cavaliers are just thinking 4 or 5 steps ahead. Oh my goodness. And to those people, I would say, calm down. I'm not going to sit here and rule out LeBron going back to Cleveland entirely, but with him signing an extension to the Lakers, I highly
it's not happening.
I say that is because the extension that he signed is for 2 or 3 years and will make him a free agent when his son gets drafted into the league. So if LeBron were to leave the Lakers, more than likely he's going to leave the Lakers to join the team that drafts his son. But nevertheless, I do like what Cleveland is doing. I like what they're building. There are some concerns and reservations. I'm not saying I'm completely bought into the concepts yet, but I can see this team being the 6th best team in the Eastern Conference.
Wow, that's crazy, because that's a
step in the right direction, because they wanted to submit the
wow, that's exactly what I was saying to myself. Wow.
Contender before. They were just a really good story last year, and who knows what they were going to look like in the upcoming year, because we've seen teams bounce up and bounce right back down from year to year. And I definitely could have seen Cleveland do that, especially if Evan Mobley did not take the right steps in the right direction. But even as I say that, there's a possibility that I am heavily underestimating a lot of teams out east. Of course, you have Miami, Milwaukee, Boston, Philly, and the Brooklyn Nets. Hopefully, if everything transpires correctly out there in Brooklyn, which means that's already 5 teams in the Eastern Conference who I believe legitimately are just better than Cleveland even after this trade. And then after that, you still have the Hawks, the Bulls, and the Raptors. Hopefully, D. Mitch can be a world of difference and help Cleveland cement themselves as a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference. But I don't know. I really do like that team Atlanta has built. And before all the injuries transpired last year when it came to Chicago, they were the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. So, I don't know, man. Everything isn't set in stone. But you let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are on this trade. What do you think about D. Mitch and Cleveland? And what do you think about Cleveland and where they stand in the Eastern Conference heading into this upcoming season? Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Check out my last video. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.
My brother Low, man. Per usual, great job, family. You're always doing great videos. Love what you do, brother. Yeah, bro. I don't know if Cleveland's gonna go far. Obviously, I don't think they will at all. That'd be kind of silly if you guys think that. Unless you're a Cleveland fan. But at the same time, though, bro, I do hope for their success because I love their team right now. Garland, Mobley, I love their game. So it would be really nice to see them really succeed in that, you know. But we'll see, you know. Yeah. But hey, man, it's your boy Melly, man. This was a great video about Low, man. And let me know in the comments down below. Do you think the Cleveland's gonna go anywhere? Do you think Donovan's gonna be an actual big change to their team? Let me know, guys. It's your boy Melly. I'm signing out. And per usual, hold on. Peace, love, and keep that drip immaculate at all times, baby. Love the hell out of y'all, man. Stay easy, breezy, beautiful. Stay sexy. Stay amazing. Stay awesome. Stay immaculate. Stay healthy. And most importantly, drink water. Bow. Peace and love, y'all.